Chelsea news. Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you are all doing well today, my friends. I really do hope that. Namaste. Welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on Football Therapy, where I go across the media, see what's being said about the Blues, giving you my opinion, but more importantly, asking for yours. 3 ruddy footballers I want to talk about today. Tammy Abraham has had a price slapped on him to the tune of £40 million. If Chelsea should sell him, which looks likely. Andreas Christensen's been talking to the club about a contract extension and his scintillating and positive form. And Raphael Varane of Real Madrid going into his last year of his contract in his prime. Chelsea heavily linked. What do we think about that? No time to lose, lots to get into today. Consider subscribing if you're new to Football Therapy and you might enjoy additional content. Drop a like on the video if you want to show your support to me to keep making these videos. And let's get into today's first story and talk about young Tammy Abraham. Chelsea's number 9, Chelsea's top scorer from last season, academy graduate, long-term Chelsea, young centre forward Tammy Abraham, England international, put out in the cold and not favoured by current Chelsea coach Thomas Tuchel. Very sad, really. Tammy Abraham is a goal scorer, and yes, he's not perfect, and most Chelsea fans would admit he's not the finished article, nor do they think he's good enough to perhaps be the leading man for Chelsea Football Club. But that doesn't necessarily mean all Chelsea fans are resigned to the fact how he may never be good enough. He's still very young, he's had a lot of experience, and you'd bet your bottom dollar on Tammy Abraham developing as a striker, as a centre forward. I always reference that Match of the Day show where Lineker, Shearer and Ian Wright, all amazing strikers in their day, did some deep dive analysis on Tammy Abraham's game, and they all really like him. I think he can get better. I don't think he should be leading the line for Chelsea at the moment, but I don't want Chelsea to sell him. I think it would be very sad because he's a good striker. He will probably get better, but also he's a really good character and good professional. Though he's not playing at the moment, he's being really positive and supportive to his teammates. And you know, you might bring in a new striker from Europe who's maybe a bit of a mercenary, might be at Chelsea for 2 years, then want to get moved on, I don't know. Tammy Abraham wants to play for Chelsea. Now, it's a difficult thing because yeah, you know, I certainly feel like, right, I don't think he's good enough to start at the moment, but I don't want to lose him because I think he's a very good option. But certainly Thomas Tuchel doesn't seem as an option at all. And really, you've got to trust the coach. But then again, this is Chelsea Football Club, and even Thomas Tuchel wins the double this season, you would not be surprised if he's gone within 2 years. Tammy Abraham could stay for a decade and develop into a much better striker. Matt Law of The Telegraph wrote an article citing the situation as Chelsea chase Erling Haaland and Romelu Lukaku. They are willing to sell Tammy Abraham for £40 million or thereabouts. Sounds like a lot of money for an academy graduate, and it is, but he's probably worth it. There'll be Premier League clubs that like the look of Tammy Abraham, the player profile, his ability to score goals in the Premier League, and his age, etc. I've heard Matt Law talk about Tammy Abraham a few times on the London is Blue podcast. He thinks Tammy Abraham's a lot like Romelu Lukaku when he was at Chelsea, how Chelsea fans viewed Lukaku at the time, who of course has gone on since and had an excellent goal-scoring career in the Premier League, in Serie A, and indeed for Belgium being their top goal scorer. And now he's one of the strikers that's being linked back to Chelsea for a sensational transfer fee. Now, I'm not saying Tammy Abraham will evolve into this striker, but you know, similar comparisons. It's important that I note at this point, I'm not saying that Chelsea should keep Tammy Abraham because he's going to become elite and we should persevere with him. It's just how it, for me, doesn't seem obvious to sell him, and I'm uncomfortable with the notion, even if it is for 40 million. Of course, we all want superstar gunman Erling Haaland, so if he comes in, that will certainly soothe the pain of Tammy Abraham going out. But what if Haaland stays for a couple of years, says, right, I'm done with this now, I'm ready for Real Madrid. Remember, his agent is Mino Raiola. They kick up a fuss in the media and he forces a sale to Real Madrid after a couple of seasons. The likes of Tammy Abraham, who wanted to stay at Chelsea for 10 years, you might look back and go, ooh, now he's like scoring loads of goals for so-and-so. It could happen. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the Tammy Abraham situation down in the comment section below. And let's move on. But before we talk about Raphael Varane, let's talk about the Danish king, Andreas Christensen. That's right, always recognised as a very technical, good centre-half, but a lot of people used to make comparisons with him and John Stones. Good technically on the ball, but maybe a little bit lightweight and sometimes makes wrong decisions. But lately, he's been nothing short of incredible at Chelsea Football Club. Of course, he was really good in the middle of a back three playing for Antonio Conte until he made that high-profile mistake in the Champions League against Barcelona, which saw him sort of fizzle out a little bit. He's been really good in the middle playing for Thomas Tuchel, and sometimes that feels like it's covering for you, like, oh, you play in the middle, you're, protected. But lately, he's been playing out on the flanks as well with Thiago Silva down the middle, and he's just looking like an excellent centre-back. He's looking superb, he's like coming into his prime. He's got 1 year left on his deal, and Chelsea were thinking of selling him originally if he wasn't in favour, because there's a lot of clubs around Europe that really rate Andreas Christensen. But now it looks almost certain a new deal will be wrapped up. Let's read what he had to say on the Fifth Stand official Chelsea app. "I've shown that I'm here for the long run," explained the defender. "I've been here almost 9-10 years now. I've never doubted my decision to come to Chelsea, and I've always been here for the long run. I accept that sometimes the club changes managers, and it can make it hard to always be in the team. After my loan spell at Borussia Mönchengladbach, I came back and I played a good amount, and since then it's been quite a bit in and out. But it's nice at the moment to play back-to-back games, and my confidence is growing with every game. There have not been any talks on a contract extension yet, but like I said, I'm in this one for the long run. I always have been. I feel like this is my second home. Denmark will always be my home, but Chelsea will always be my place." Lovely. Good to hear he absolutely 100% wants to stay at Chelsea, and people forget he's been with us a decade. Actually, he's an academy product. Chelsea bought him in as a young teenager, and he joined the academy and then worked his way into the first team, had a loan spell at Borussia Mönchengladbach, played at CDM, gained loads of football experience and intelligence. He's played at, both centre-backs, middle of a three, CDM, I believe right back as well. Check out his player data graphic in front of me. Shows you he can play all over the gaff, the Danish international, and of course he only has 1 year left on his deal. Now for me personally, I wasn't overly happy with Andreas Christensen for a few years. Certainly last season it might have come to fever pitch when I saw him stay on the ground and Villa scored, he should have got up. He's done that before for Chelsea, and I've just got so frustrated with Andreas Christensen seemingly being so lightweight. But provided we're playing in a high possession system like Thomas Tuchel, where the ball's not transitioning out of possession all the time and there's more structure, he can demonstrate his footballing intelligence and his defensive nous with superb positioning, receiving the ball incredibly well, making good interceptions, good distribution, and tactical versatility in different positions. So Andreas Christensen ultimately is a massive gem. There'd be loads of suitors for him should he want to leave Stamford Bridge, but he wants to stay, and he will get, for my money, a bumper new contract, and that's massively good news. Right then, let's move on to the next and final story and talk about Raphael Varane. Right. French World Cup winner Varane in his prime plays for Real Madrid. Obviously he's been starting against us in the Champions League. Has been linked with a move away from the Bernabeu, and perhaps he could end up at Chelsea, as he's been linked to the Premier League and Manchester United and Chelsea Football Club. Now he's the weaker of the two out of him and Ramos when they play. Of course he's a bit younger, but people criticise him, the Real Madrid fans sometimes. He's not always switched on, but he's certainly got immense technical ability, and he's a massive dominating figure, Varane, and I think he's got the profile to do very well in the Premier League and probably for Thomas Tuchel's side. Let's cite the article that I've referenced today. Chelsea are ready to meet Real Madrid's €70 million asking price for Raphael Varane this summer, according to latest reports. Varane is about to enter the final year of his contract with the Spanish giant, with the French international currently unwilling to extend his stay at the club. Real Madrid are not willing to let the defender run down his contract and are keen to avoid a long-running saga over the summer, with the club resigned to losing him at the end of the season. Manchester United, PSG are among the clubs interested in Varane, but according to Mondo Deportivo, Chelsea are leading the race to sign him at the request of head coach Thomas Tuchel. Leading the race to sign Raphael Varane. Very nice. Chelsea have won today elite centre-half for a while. Of course, they brought in Thiago Silva and will probably extend that for one more year, but they need more security in a long-term option. Raphael Varane could offer that. Let's hear what snaky Florentino Perez had to say. Varane? I'm happy with our team. If players don't want to stay at Madrid, they can leave, said Perez. Varane is said to be open to a new challenge, having spent a decade at the Bernabeu. Indeed, have a quick look at his player data from Transfermarkt. A centre-back dominating going into the last year of his contract, the French master defender. Basically, Real Madrid are in massive financial disarray, and with him not signing a new deal, they will have to sell him this summer, and they can't entertain the idea of running down his contract. Perez will be like, just go, and especially if it's to the tune of €70 million, they'll be rubbing their hands together regardless to how good Varane is. So, let me know what you think about that. I'm keen to get your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on this potential rumoured signing link transfer gossip. Get down in the transfer comments. I was going to say, might as well be called the transfer comments. Get down in the transfer comments below and let me know your thoughts on this. Tammy Abraham, all the other gear. You subscribe if you're new. Make sure the bell notifications icon is turned on. Drop a like on the video. Enjoy the football. And I will see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living. I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines. I rap through thought. Body bag the verse. Outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double, silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I love me baby.